Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of St. Margaret Mary, Where Are They Now? We hope you have enjoyed our series thus far, and we have another exciting guest with us today. And to introduce us is our moderator, Mike Lomita. Mike?
Thanks, Matt. Hi, everybody. And it really is a pleasure to spend some time now with a former pastor and a good friend of the parishes, and that is Bishop Marc Trudeau. Welcome, Bishop Marc.
Thanks, Mike and Matt. It's good to be here.
Good to have you. Bishop, we certainly want to focus our time talking about the 3 years you were with us as pastor at St. Margaret Mary Church, but just so that people who may not know your story, let's talk a little bit about the time even before that. You have a very interesting vocation journey, don't you? As a student at the USC Dental School, for some reason you chose against dentistry and the priesthood. What was that discernment like when you were at USC, and how did you end up at St. John's Seminary?
Well, I mean, I know that everybody thinks that spending your day with your hands in other people's saliva sounds very romantic, but actually, I enjoyed dental school. I enjoyed the work and the science and helping people, but it became apparent to me as I was going through it in my last year that just wasn't what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And so I was really searching that last year, asking the questions, what would make me feel fulfilled and whole. And so I'd always been very active in the church, always been active in my parish. That was St. Finbar in Burbank. And so the idea of a vocation in the priesthood came up. And I sort of thought of it before. And I spoke to the associate pastor there at the time. And he took me up to the seminary just to see what it was like. And it's funny because I knew when I got up there, and this was, I went up after I finished. Oh, yeah, it was after I'd finished seminary, or after I'd finished middle school, went up to the seminary. And I knew when I was there that's what made sense to me. So it just kind of it made sense. That decision was sort of made for me, I think. So I felt blessed, and so I was there for 5 years at St. John's in Camarillo. And I enjoyed the whole time that I was there. I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, the seminary was a terrible time." Not for me. I had a wonderful time there. I had a great priests. I loved the education, the formation, and it was a good experience for me. So
thank God for us, you persevered, and God called you to ordination. You were ordained a priest, and you had some great assignments early on as a priest, but that journey led you to a most interesting assignment, and that is as secretary to the cardinal, where you spent time not only living at the cathedral, but being with Cardinal Mahoney on a daily basis, managing his schedule and serving as his master of ceremonies for liturgies. But during that time, Bishop, and you've been very public about your discussion about this. During that time, you had a pretty significant battle with cancer, and you went through your own, in essence, quarantine or isolation, something that the rest of us are going through now. But you've really turned that adversity, the time that you endured cancer, to a part of who you are today. How has that shaped you as a priest and as a bishop today?
Well, I think that whenever you've gone through something like that, and going through chemotherapy, radiation therapy, treatment, I had lymphoma, and which is blood cancer. It's very common, probably, and I think what I had was the most common blood cancer, which is good. You don't want to get any of those rare diseases because they don't have very much research on them. You get a real common one. They've done all kinds of research, and they have a pretty good protocol for chemotherapy. It doesn't make it any fun. Certainly, I was very sick for about 6 months, and then I had treatment for about 2.5 years for that. So recognizing that and going through and then being with people and seeing others going through the process of any illness, I mean, including coronavirus now, although we're not able to really be present to people, unfortunately. I see that you have the medical field, and coming from the field of dentistry, you have the science that works. Our bodies work in a really wonderful way. I mean, it's the way that we're put together. I mean, the gift of life, the gift of our bodies. Just, it's kind of amazing that we work the way we do. And our bodies can fight off diseases and can become better. And then we can also learn how to fight diseases chemically and through processes that we go through in medicine. But that doesn't make, and I always say, I had a really great doctor. I had really good chemotherapy and all that, radiation therapy. It all worked. But that, I still think of it as a miracle that any time that you go through an illness and come through the other side in health, it's a blessing and a miracle that God works in your own life, and you appreciate life much more. I think you also appreciate that a lot of the things that we get so bent out of shape over aren't all that important, and so you kind of recognize what the priorities are in life and how we can appreciate it.
Absolutely true. So true. So a lesson that we are all kind of learning in these last couple of months, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Being sort of forced to be on our own. I mean, I live in it's an old convent now, and my staff are all working from home. So I talk to them and I email them, but I don't see them very often.
Right.
So and I'm looking at you. So everybody, I'm getting very used to people being two-dimensional. I'm really looking forward to people being three-dimensional again, though. That'll be a day of real celebration.
Well, let's hope and pray it's soon. That is for sure. So at the end of your yes, at the end of your term as secretary to the cardinal, you knew that time was coming to a close. We're in the year 2010 now. How explain to us the process that got you from the cathedral to St. Margaret Mary. How was St. Margaret Mary selected? How did it become part of your discernment? How did you become our pastor?
Well, gosh, it was kind of my last choice. No. No, you know, when I was working in the Cardinal's office for about 6.5 years. And so when the Cardinal was getting ready to retire, he asked for a coadjutor, which is Archbishop Gomez. And then in the meantime, you know, I wasn't going to be working in that office anymore, so I had to get a real job. And so anyway, this was, oh, it was in the early spring, probably the early spring, before they started the process of pastors, you know, that being named. So the Cardinal just brought a list of parishes into my office, and he said, well, these are all the parishes that are open. Which one do you want? And it was funny because he said, which one do you want? He said, I know the one that I would choose. And so I looked down the list, and I won't say the others that were on the list, but I said, well, St. Margaret Mary was, you know, it had a school, it had lots of ministries. You know, when you're working in an office downtown, you don't get to do a lot of the things that a normal that a pastor, associate pastor would get to do. You know, visiting the school, doing weddings, and, you know, all that stuff. I really didn't get to do much of that when I was working in the office. So, and visiting hospitals, things like that. So that's what I was looking for, and that's Margaret Mary has it in spades. So, so that's, I said, well, yeah, it looks like there's really only one parish on the list, Margaret Mary. Plus, I knew Bishop Joe had been there, Pat Thompson, both of them are good friends. I said, you know, they're, of course, it's always, you always want to follow somebody that was more like Jack the Ripper, because it's hard when you follow people like Joe Sartoris and Pat Thompson. But they certainly developed and formed one of and then, but I told the Cardinal that, he said, that's the one that I was going to say.
Perfect.
So that was it. So it was pretty easy. I didn't have to convince anybody. I just got to.
And you did, Bishop. I mean, you came into a scene where you were following two very popular pastors, each of them with a lot of years, right? Both Bishop Joe and Monsignor Pat served 16 years, so a collection of 32 years of service between the two pastors. And you came in the summer of 2010. What were your first reactions to the parish? I mean, you heard about St. Margaret Mary, and of course, you may have heard or seen the work that both Bishop Joe and Father Pat did, but what was your first impressions, your first couple weeks there? What did you think?
Well, the first couple of weeks, all that was going on were parties. So I was wondering whether I was going to be able to keep up with this. So yeah, it just seemed like there was one party after another. So, but no, it was pretty much what I expected. I mean, it was a busy place, lots of ministry going on, English, Spanish, a big Christian service program, 2 hospitals. So a lot going on. Summer school was going on at the time. I mean, the school was a good, important part of the community. Holy Name Society. Boy, there's a lot of work there.
We're so happy you embraced the holy name and assisted them over the years. And they're a great
I had to make fun of them because if any of them are watching this, they wouldn't expect me to say anything nice.
Well, we thank you for your work with the Holy Name Society and for introducing the Margarita to parish events. I know that was collaborative between you and the Holy Name Society, so thank you for that. That continues on to this day. You know, of course, as we all know, you did not enjoy a 16-year legacy like your predecessors did, and instead, God and the Archbishop had other thoughts for where you could serve the church in the Archdiocese, and we only had you for 3 years as opposed to a long term. But the 3 years were very, very important 3 years, I think, in the life of the parish and in the memory of a lot of us. When you think back at those 3 years, Bishop Marc, were there highlights? Were there things that you know you're going to take with you for a long, long time? What were those memories?
Well, the craziness of the Lomita Fair is probably one thing that sticks out. A lot of fun. I think that they're just the normal life of a parish. RCIA, the adult confirmation that we were doing, the youth events. Yeah, just so much. Plus, you might recall I had Father Juan Silva and Father Bao Nguyen. Father Bao was newly ordained, and so it was a nice house. We got along. I feel very blessed. Every parish that I've been in, I've lived with priests who were really brothers, and I feel very blessed for that. Except for now, the guy I live with now is really annoying.
Well, that's the cross that you're bearing.
That's because I live by myself, those of you that don't know that.
Well, I'll remind you of a highlight during the 3 years you were with us, and that is in 2012, we celebrated the parish's 75th anniversary. And it was a year-long celebration, but put together by a terrific committee that you put together, that you assembled. And certainly a highlight.
That was the party committee.
It was, and the committee is still around. The celebration committee still is around, still putting on parties. But a highlight, there are two highlights to me, although we did a dinner dance and a variety of other things. You implemented for us something called 75,000 hours of service. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And what was your motivation behind that, and why was that an important part of this anniversary celebration?
Well, that wasn't my idea. It came from the party committee that somebody, I think it might have been Flo Stapleton, I'm not too sure, brought up that they had seen on on the website of another institution, maybe it was Catholic U, or I mean it was a Catholic, I think it was a college that was celebrating an anniversary, and they had committed, the faculty and students had committed to a certain number of hours, and they brought that up, so is that something that we could do? And I just thought, God, what a great idea. I mean, I'm sure we're doing it anyway, but to capture that, to show, this is the life of a parish. We think of it in terms of just Sunday, but it's every single day of the week. People are doing things for others, and that living the gospel of loving God and loving your neighbor, and here's how, look at how many hours we spend doing of service to our neighbor, showing our love for them and for God through that. I just thought it was a really, it was a great experience, and I enjoyed watching. I mean, we went way over 75,000 hours. I think you remember. I think we went over 100,000 hours.
We did. We
And that's just
absolutely did.
the ones that people, the people that put them in. We have no idea what people did that didn't turn in.
It was a great experience, and I think it was a wonderful way to mark the 75th anniversary of the parish, to show how much the parish gives back and how much service the parishioners provide. Other highlights of that year, of course, were a great 75th anniversary mass that Cardinal Mahoney celebrated for us, and of course there was the infamous trip to France and Italy, our pilgrimage, visiting the shrine of Saint Margaret Mary and Pare Lamoniale, and then having a heck of a great time in Italy.
Yeah, that was really, really fun, really fun. And I also, just another thing, I don't know if you recall, but we took the 12 promises of the Sacred Heart given to St. Margaret Mary, and we chose a word, and each month was focus on one of those words.
That's right.
That was kind of I thought that was clever and meaningful also. The trip, trips are always fun, but I think that connection between Margaret Mary going to France with our group, of course we did see Pare Lamoniale. You missed our little visit to that winery in southern France that was the elderly lady that ran the winery, who actually gets into the hopper and stomps on the grapes just like Lucille Ball.
She was a character, and the
Oh my
winery
gosh, that was so fun.
When she started giving us a tour of the bedrooms, and
Yeah,
take a tour of her house.
old house. Oh my gosh, the castle, really.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a great trip, full of lots of memories, as was the entire year.
Yeah.
Well, then the following year, of course, 2013, the Archbishop asks you to take on a new assignment. You spend a number of years in leadership at St. John's Seminary, which, while at the beginning we were all resentful, but we quickly realized that the gift that you are as a priest, Bishop Marc, meant that you could share those same qualities to the men in training for priesthood, which you certainly did. And then you get the call for yet another part of your priesthood, and that's the call to serve as a bishop. And for the last couple of years, we have certainly absolutely enjoyed having you as our regional bishop, because if anything else, it gives you a chance to come and visit us a little bit more often, since we are in your region. What is life like as a regional bishop outside of this COVID time? What are your duties as a regional bishop? What do you do?
Well, I got I don't know what I do. I've forgotten. I have a lot of these Zoom meetings. I mean, before all this started, the word Zoom was, for me, it was the sound a race car made. And now we're all Zooming every day, these meetings like this. We're doing different things with Zoom and recording Zoom and all that. But the life of the regional bishop really is the care of the parishes within the region. So I get to visit under normal circumstances. I would be visiting the parishes. Like I didn't take anything off of my calendar. I just highlighted everything that I was supposed to be doing. Like this morning, I was supposed to have a May crowning at one of our schools, and then I was going to have a confirmation this evening. And so I'm praying for those communities as we're going through. I mean, I was scheduled for 55 confirmations this Easter season, and which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done, of the 55, well, that included one that I did in January, so I did actually do that one. That was adults.
Right.
But yeah, so all of those communities, and then I know in every parish there have been first communions, first confessions, weddings, funerals that have been, drive-by funerals. It's been really tough. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm
Much is
praying for all
postponed.
those communities.
That's the puppy, if you can hear the puppy in the background. So Bishop Marc, thank you so much for the time that we spent chatting. Any final thoughts, any final wishes that you'd like to convey to your St. Margaret Mary family before we say goodbye?
Well, it's just know that it's still St. Margaret Mary is very, very close to my heart, as you know. Wonderful, wonderful parish because of the people that are there. Obviously, I think that's just the wonderful, even those guys in the Holy Name Society who are fantastic. Just all from the school parents, the choir, Hispanic ministry, the Christian service people, all of that, just do such a wonderful, wonderful giving, the living the gospel there in Lomita, and I just wish that we could be doing what we normally do at this time, but we're not. We're praying for each other. We're lifting each other up in prayer, and we're looking forward to the day that we will not be virtual, two-dimensional. I'm really looking forward to the time when we can hug people again.
Absolutely, Bishop.
As simple as a hug, boy. It's it's coming. It is coming.
Yeah. We hope the time comes soon. Well, Bishop Marc, thanks so much for spending some time with us today, reminiscing and talking about your experiences at the parish. We fondly remember the 3 years that you served as our pastor. You'll always be part of our community and part of this family. So thanks again for the time. God bless you, and we'll hand it back to Matt Johnson.
All right, thanks. God bless you.
Thank you, Bishop Marc. Thanks for spending some time with us today. We hope you have enjoyed as much as we have. And don't forget, if you're watching this and you're enjoying our series, our inaugural season, don't forget to click subscribe so you get notified of our future videos. Thanks everyone for joining us. Take care.